Well. Welcome into the Audacy sound space of the Hard Rock Hotel in New York with the head and the heart. Hi, kids. Welcome in.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Proper pronunciation, thought? Or that.
We go by Thath.
Needs rock dots over the A, I think. For thought. Most exciting time for a band's existence, and right now it's got to be, right?
Oh yeah, all the socials, do it yourself. We love it. What could be worse?
But this is when it all comes to fruition. Like it all starts blossoming and turns into a beautiful flower.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it is a great time. Yeah.
I meant with me. I meant right now with me. What is the for a new song, a new album? What is the most exciting part of this whole process for you guys?
Truthfully, this is like the beginning of the exciting parts. You know, we've done a lot of finishing up the album is like one of the hardest parts, you know, because it's like we're all like super, oh, it's cool. It's like we all have ideas, but then somebody has to like, you know, the ideas have to come to a close, and you got to start voting, and it gets tricky. We've gone through that part, luckily, and so honestly, this is kind of the beginning of the fun part, taking it out into the world and letting people hear it. And
you just said something interesting. Voting. What are you voting on?
Everything.
Everything?
We're a super democratic band, so we're voting on like album art, song sequence, lunch.
Yeah. What does the snare drum sound at this specific timestamp on the song?
It's actually true.
For every
Fonts of the
single song.
subtitle.
We're heavily involved in every aspect.
Wow.
Making a record. Yeah.
So
But this is this. I mean, if this is Supreme Court, you need another member. I mean, so who gets the second vote? Who gets the tie-breaking vote? Somebody gets two.
Eric does.
My man.
Yeah, I feel like if
Don't
it's
give him
split
that power.
I feel like if it's split 3-3, we usually go to label management.
Yeah.
Really?
We just started working with this new label called Verve for us, and the two A&R women over there who we work with are so incredible. They're just great resources and really honest and creative collaborators. So that's been
How
super
often does
fun.
it become 3-3?
Quite often, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we usually just shut the government down for about a week when that happens. Just try it again.
Is it like Survivor where you have like a clique? What do they call it on Survivor?
Alliances?
Yeah, you have alliances.
Yeah, but they always fall apart at the last minute.
He kept getting naked, and I just had to stop.
Yeah, that's the ultimate power move. Is all right, let's go. You want to do this call? Let's go.
All right, so the new song. By the way, am I wrong to assume there's no official album title, or you have it, you just haven't said it?
We're sitting on it.
That's the name of it?
No, God, no.
This album has gotten weird. This band has really turned into
Hold on.
something strange.
Should we vote on that again? I mean,
No, we're in. We're all in.
You got it. Everything's. You got a date yet? You ready for
Next year.
Okay. Okay.
That's all we can say right now.
25 is the date.
Okay. Let's talk about Arrow, the new song. What I saw on Twitter, you guys are such wonderful social media. I mean, I feel like we're all the same age. How are we good at social media? But you guys are great at it. And you guys did the Arrow video. You said, what's your favorite part of the Arrow video? Yeah. What's your favorite part of the Arrow video?
We had the idea to do it this summer when we were in New York City the last time, which was a couple months ago. We were on tour at the time, and we were like, oh, we should be documenting this and like getting this on camera and just the behind the scenes footage of us living our lives and all of that. And so we brought one of our friends out, who's an amazing filmmaker named Chris Cunningham, who ended up doing the amazing edit that is now the official video. And he used that with other footage taken by Bridget Craig, who is our tour photographer / documentarian that's was with us for the last couple of years. And so the two of them, Chris kind of assembled this amazing little montage of life on the road, which was always kind of the best way for us to assemble a music video that made any sense, because often when you get back into that voting thing, if it's some kind of conceptual thing, it becomes really like a whole nother ball game trying to come up with an idea that makes sense. And
I mean, look, my favorite part of you didn't ask me. My favorite part of the video is when I get to watch the crew move stuff on and off the stage.
Same.
I love it. I love that part of this whole process.
And I was like, Joey, Tim, him.
Yeah.
My favorite
There are
part.
buds. So
Well,
seeing
the
it.
reason why I like this video too is it's indicative of a lot of things that's Head in the Heart. It's very honest, vulnerable. You peel the layers back and you see pretty much the exposed skin. That's pretty much the band, though.
I think the best
Yeah.
part about making the video was not making a video. Which is like, we're going to go play shows, be on tour, and we're going to have somebody come out and film it and not over realize it or try to make something out of,
Is
So,
that somehow indicative of how you write songs too?
I think on this record, it felt like we sort of peeled back the layers, like you were saying, where I think it was really intentional to strip back production, but also do it live in a room. We worked for about a year in Richmond and in Seattle, just for weeks at a time, usually like a week at a time, and just sat in a room and wrote songs. And we honestly hadn't done that in a long time. So it felt good to kind of capture that, the chemistry that we have together. And I think the video is kind of a reflection of that as well.
When somebody brings something as vulnerable as some of these lines, the thing I love about Head in the Heart is one of the lines, feeling something equals being alive, essentially. Feeling something equals being alive, which is so indicative of this band, right? And when somebody brings something that's that vulnerable to the table, who around you goes, whoa, what is going on with you? How did you get that?
I feel like we're used to it at this point, so it's never comes off as a big shock,
I think the more vulnerable we hear, like from
the more
songwriters,
excited I
the
get.
more, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, totally. Like it, when you can latch onto something lyrically, it gives you like a springboard musically to, from a drummer's perspective, if I hear something that excites me, it gives me the energy to like follow that thread,
Yeah.
I feel like go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go
I was gonna say, like, I feel like the more heavy the lyric, the less it gets talked about. Like if something comes in that's like, hits
just
you,
like, yep.
then there's no conversation that needs to happen. I feel like sometimes when there's like a vague lyric and everyone's like, well, I think this and I think that. But when something comes in super heavy,
I never thought about that.
no one needs to talk about it. It just, it hits.
Yeah, and you kind of just respect it. You don't try to change any lyric like that. If you know it's something deep or heavy, you let it be what it is and move forward and just try to make the song as good as possible.
I was going to make a joke about voting, but everybody's saying something so powerful that I don't want to mess it up. And it's true. I agree with what everybody's saying.
When it comes to Arrow, and you can expand this to the new album called Sitting on It. I finish the sentence. When I hear blank, the album Arrow, I want people to feel what?
Free.
joy.
I was just up in the Catskills, literally up until this morning, driving around listening to we have the master. We got the whole album sequence mastered, and I was driving around with my in-laws, and so there was like a variation of gender and age, and we were driving around. The leaves are changing up there, and it's beautiful, and it just works so well. It just feels good. It's just a feel. I don't know. There's no way to sum that up really, but. It felt good. Like sometimes you play something for your in-laws or your own parents or your own family, and you're like, let's just skip this one. Let's skip this one. Let's come back to that one. This one just flowed like from start to finish. I was just so proud of the record, and I felt proud to be bopping along like up front. And there was no moment where I was just kind of like, we'll get through this one, just 3 more minutes. The whole thing felt great.
I also love how you treat your in-laws like the kid on the Christmas Story, where it's, push that right down there, kid. So when you're riding around with the in-laws and a multitude of demographics, ages, sex, etc., experiences, how are you listening to it? You're listening to it to master it. They're listening to it to be like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Well, I've known them quite a while now, and I kind of know what they're all going through in different stages of their lives and different issues that are going on in or around their marriages, or their kids are going to college, or it's my niece and she's 3. Like, so I'm listening through their lens, which is my favorite way of listening to music. It's kind of why I show songs that are in process usually with family members and friends, because I kind of tend to know what they're going through, and so I want to know how what does this message mean coming from their perspective? And it either sticks or it doesn't. I just feel like it's a good barometer.
When you guys say that you did this voting thing, I also read you said this is 180 degrees in where we wanted to go, or something to that effect, right? So this has always been the dynamic. It's always been a democratic process. So what is the 180 that you wanted to go in originally, and now you're not?
I think this is exactly where we wanted to go.
Oh.
I think the 180 is like you find yourself going down roads musically, or you're listening to other people, other forces come into a band's creation over the life of the band, right?
Eric.
Like Eric, yeah. Eric again. He's a good egg, Eric. And you sort of have to start, expand your scope of what the band could be. But on this record, it feels like we were let's bring it back to the six of us and let's self-produce again, which we haven't done since the second record, Let's Be Still. So there was an intentional way of going about making this album where it was let's really focus on the six of our ideas and what the culmination of that is. And that's why I think we're super proud of this album.
I think the 180 was a 180 from where we could have ended up, but we kind of pulled it back around to where we were to start this band and where we think our strengths are.
Yeah, Let's Be Still perfect. We talk about something that's lasted forever and still never not delivers. Something on this album that you hope, one thing in particular, just remains 15 years later, 20 years later, that you're like, oh, that still hits.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, we really did. I think we experimented so much over the years, and that was a lot of fun. But I think one thing we were also doing was filling voids of just not necessarily being as vulnerable around one another, because this becomes a business, becomes a touring business, an entity that makes money, that exhausts you, and it's not so easy to always want to be completely vulnerable and open around all six people. Mm-hmm. And I think we went through times where we were making music. I think it was still good music, but we thought it needed layers to sort of mask something. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing here, but these songs just feel so pure that there's very little production on them, and so I think it just has a more timeless. It feels less contemporary and just more immediate to me. How
did it change through the dynamic? How did it become more vulnerable for everybody?
We just started talking again,
Group therapy.
Group therapy.
Uh-huh.
Basically this without microphones.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm the therapist, you are in big trouble. You're screwed, pal.
Well, the other thing that we did that didn't get mentioned is that we literally started this record with no label. We were in the middle of, we were in this sort of limbo land, which felt like we had ultimate freedom because there was no one asking us to make a record. We were just going and starting it on our own. There was no outside forces asking us to, deliver anything. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the sessions were driven by just what feels good right now.
Internal
what are you
drive,
playing? That sounds cool. What if I did this to that? And we just started listening to each other, and all the songs, pretty much all the songs on the record are the instrumentation that you hear is literally from the day it was conceived. So the performances are super fresh and haven't been messed with at all. You know what I mean? And so the only kind of overdubbing that happened was lyrical stuff, once the song was kind of fleshed out a little bit more on most of the songs. But instrumentally, most of it is very fresh and spontaneous from that initial spark. So
sounds free too.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit freedom, a little bit of freedom.
That's what I would say. In 15 years, I want people to take that away from this album. Yeah. I'm super happy with the fact that it feels so lively and spontaneous, and we wrote songs in ways that we've never written before, sitting in a room and literally getting a song in one take together. Yeah. And that to me was the memory that I'll have in 15 years.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. You talk about group therapy. How do we individually take care of our own mental spaces and health?
Golf.
Fast cars.
Yeah, we all have our own ways of doing that, but we've done a great job the last few years, especially.
Gambling addiction. Yeah, charity.
There's a very healthy outlet for charity. That's
collecting Hard Rock souvenirs.
Do you lean on each other though?
She goes to the bowling alley.
Do you have a who's the emergency contact? You're calling each other if something.
Eric.
Oh, again. Every time. Speaking of mementos from the Hard Rock, you walk in, you see Beyonce's pants here. It's a weird thing. What is the thing that Thought is putting in the Hard Rock? If you had to walk in, what memorabilia item, what piece is
Probably the
going
sheet
in?
mask,
Sheet mask, yeah, from the
which
first
is
album.
hanging in my rec room right now.
What? That's
Yeah.
where it is?
Yeah.
Man.
It is
That in the shadow
tattered.
box.
It's tattered, but it's the sheet mask from the first
And
record.
actually,
Yeah.
my parents are cleaning out their house, and they just gave me the coat from the front cover.
From the front cover.
Oh yeah, maybe there's a glass case.
Yeah.
Maybe the sheep mask is hanging next to the jacket.
Queen Bee's pants.
Eric, can we do that?
Let's make that happen.
Eric.
I'm more worried about what he's doing in this shed of his. What is wrong in this?
Oh, just making hits. Just hit after hit. Oh, man. What am I not doing in that rec room?
Yeah, the final thing is
with the sheep mask.
you guys famously, I'm interested in this because I am a product of Richmond, Virginia, and the DMV, doing half of it in Richmond and the other half in Seattle. I want to hear the Head and the Heart Guar collaboration, guys.
Oh,
Come
yes,
on.
please.
Go to the Guar bar and make something happen, kids.
Penguin Attack is a great song. That is a great song. I will go on record saying it. I would love to cover it next time we're in Richmond.
Penguin Attack.
Have they
I'll
ever
play it.
done
I'll play it for you. It's a smash hit.
I'm not allowed
do
in
they
Guar
do
Bar, though, so.
live sessions there at the
At Guar bar?
Fans ever played it?
Live Murders, probably.
Oh, yes.
Like,
I mean, it feels like the greatest like Chili's I've ever been in. You know what I mean? A lot of goofy stuff on the walls,
So it's
and it feels like it, right into
blood splatters on
Anyone
the
ever
floor.
Filmed a music video?
Hello, I'm looking at him. Come on, guys.
Giving us our ideas.
Love that idea.
Head in the Heart, the Audacy Soundspace. Thanks for joining us.